I never think I'd make a review in which I called K's writing good. This is as shocking to me as it probably is to you, but I think this episode of K Return of Kings was actually good for anime standards, not just K's. Some of you may know this already, but for those who don't, I believe all of the fight scenes in Return of Kings, with the exception of the first episode, have been absolute garbage. The camera was stupid, the shots made no sense, and it wasn't even good popcorn fun. The show was attempting to take a new identity, consisting of fights that were made by an autistic child using rotoscoping and After Effects for the first time, rather than well-directed ones. And that ended in complete disaster, and the show ultimately feeling pretentious. This episode, however, the fight was great. My favorite part being when Shiro was deflecting all of the bullets. That was really fucking cool. The camera movement was really cool and made sense. The animation was fluid as always, with the exception of that panning shot near Munakata. I don't know why the hell that was so choppy. Music fit the scene, and the exposition only added to the fight, instead of taking away from the immersion, aka Fate Zero. It wasn't just the fight scenes either. The dialogue and foreshadowing was way better this episode than it ever has been. Conversations felt like they had meaning, and the arguments really felt impactful. When the Blue King called Fushimi a traitor, I know at least I was like, oh shit, that ain't Falco, nigga! Even when Neko was yelling at the Green Clan who took the slates, I was smiling. She wasn't forced into the scene, and the dialogue didn't feel as if it didn't belong. She stayed in character and only entered the conversation once the main problem was dealt with. Foreshadowing wise, the show did a really good job. When Fushimi and everyone else were talking, you knew that it was set up. Most of the dialogue, except for the entire naked Neko scene, is foreshadowing towards things that will probably happen in the future of the show. The last thing I want to praise the episode for is the use of colors, which is funny since most people will say that K has terrible color theory. However, I strongly disagree. In fact, I think the usage of colors is perfect. Fushimi was walking in the park after the credits. You could already tell he became a Green Klansman. What does this have to do with the usage of colors, you ask? Simple. K Season 1. The lack of colors aside from blue and red was pretty common. However, green has been a prominent color in the second season. These colors are supposed to represent people's allegiance to a clan, their conflicts, their desires, and so much more pertaining to a clan. I know this is gonna sound like a little bit of a reach, but simply seeing the green grass behind Fushimi was enough for me to know that he joined the Green Clan. Crazy, I know, but I plan on making a video about this entire ordeal alongside one with the ED. There's a lot of stuff that ED foreshadows now that we know about Fushimi and stuff. TLDR, I was expecting this episode to be complete ass. I'm just being completely honest. So I was shocked when I was actually praising the episode by the end. The plot twist was great, alongside the character of Fushimi, and so was everything else for the most part. I don't know if this is just a one-time thing, but if the rest of the show can be even relatively close to how good this episode was, we fans could be in for a very fun ride. A very fun 5 out of 10, baby.